Have you heard the news that two of your favorite companies, Ranger Ink and Spellbinders, have teamed up with one of your favorite designers, Simon Hurley, to create Joyful Christmas, a collection that includes stamps, dies, and foil plates? Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel and I'm super excited that they sent me some of these new supplies to work with so that I can share them with you. First, let's look at the new stamps, dies, and foil plates that I'll be working with today. First up is the Halftone Holiday, and you can see that there are stamps that are available. There are also dies available, and that is the bonus with collaborating between Simon Hurley, Ranger, and Spellbinders. So you have these beautiful halftone stamps, and I'll show you some of the images stamped out. You can see that it's not the full colored in image. There are some dots creating kind of some interest to those stamps, but I especially love that you can get the dies to easily cut them all out, even down to the tiniest little berry. So all of those images cut out and make it really easy to play with. These are the candy stripes dies. You get a rectangle and then the stripe die. These are the retro ornaments foil plates and dies to cut them out. Last but not least, we have the Joyful Christmas sentiments foil plates and dies to cut them out. So you foil all the sentiments at once, and then you can cut them all out individually with this one die, which is pretty brilliant. So I broke this video up into 3 parts. We're gonna start with stamping first. So you can see some of these images stamped out with colorful inks from Simon Hurley for Ranger. And again, some of those images, especially like the pine cone, you can see is colored in some parts, and then kind of that dot image, which gives lots of interest to the stamps on the other parts. So you don't have to use different colors of ink to get that look of shading and blending. So I like to prime my stamps with a stamp tool and then use the Debby tool for pressure on the MISTI. Next up is foiling, and we're going to be using the Spellbinders Glimmer machine to foil these foil plates. So I'm going to put the foil plate when it says the platform is ready down on the platform, and then I'm going to press the timer button. I have the Glimmer variety pack here, and I'll link to that down below as well, and I'm going to be using these foils. So I cut out a strip of this kind of gold confetti foil. Make sure you put the color side down on the foil plate. If you do the other side, you're going to foil your plate, which is not the end of the world. It won't ruin it at all. I'm going to use some Hammermill cardstock because it is nice and smooth. The other thing that I recommend cardstock wise is the Spellbinders cardstocks because they are also very smooth. I'm going to pick it up with the magnet since it's still a little hot, plug that platform back in, and while it's heating up again, just peel this off. So I have it upside down, sorry about that, but you can see those gold confetti looks. Here's kind of that silver iridescence that came in the variety pack, the purple, and I decided to do a gold too because you can never have enough foiled sentiments. Now I'm going to foil those retro ornaments again with your foil with the color side down and then your cardstock on top of that. You don't have to worry about where it exactly falls because we have the dies to cut it out. So just kind of do it in the middle of the cardstock and you'll be able to cut it out. Or this one came out perfect. You could just leave it on the cardstock as is. Now for the die cutting portion of the video. I like to do everything assembly line. So stamping first, foiling next, and then die cutting. And I'm going to use pixie tape to hold the dies in place and cut out all the images that I stamped. Look at how pretty that halftone stamp is. Now I'm going to cut out everything that I foiled. So I'm going to cut out the retro ornaments. You can see the sentiments die. It's all one die, but it cuts them all out individually. I also am going to cut out the string from the stamp set. I'm going to cut out the stripes from that candy stripe die and a rectangle from some red cardstock. So check out all those sentiments foiled and die cut. They are great because then you can pop them up on dimensional adhesive as well. So here is the strings cut out of silver mirror cardstock too, and so now we have lots to play with. Now that you've seen everything I'm working with, let's do what my motto is and get a jump on Christmas. For this first card, I cut the candy stripe die out of an A2 piece of silver mirror cardstock, and I'm going to adhere it down to some darker blue cardstock from Spellbinders with some liquid glue from Thermoweb. Now I'm using some foam tape to pop up one of the stamped ornaments, and I'm going to use some tape runner to adhere down the silver mirror ornament string. So I'm not going to worry about the string being popped up. You won't really be able to tell. And I'd also popped up the foiled retro ornaments, and I'm just trying to figure out how I can fit all 4 of these ornaments on this card. So I'm going to double pop up that last ornament. I'm going to flip this all over and cut off any of the strings from the ornaments that hangs off the top of the card. Once that's done, I am ready to add my sentiment, which I did above the ornament at the bottom right. For this card, you remember I cut out a candy stripe die out of white cardstock, and then I cut a rectangle out of that red cardstock. I'm going to use the Ultra Bond liquid glue in the pen form to adhere. Don't worry about that little bit of glue kind of squeaking out on the side. It will dry clear. And I'm going to use some tape runner behind the silver stripes that I cut out of the last candy stripe die. I'm just going to add the thick ones into this one here, so that we'll have red stripes, white stripes, and silver mirror stripes. So I'm just going to use the tape runner from Thermoweb on the back of those silver mirror pieces that were die cut out and add them in to this like a die cut inlay technique. Just pop them right in like puzzle pieces, and it just adds another aspect to that background. And now I'm going to use the stamped images that we haven't used yet, like the large poinsettia, a pine cone, and some holly leaves, to make a cluster on the front of this card. So the 3 things that I've already put down have been single popped up, and I'm going to double up my foam adhesive and just lay that above so that it can kind of fit right into that opening there. Last but not least, I'm going to pop up the sentiment right on top, and it's a foiled sentiment as well. So lots of foiling here. Okay, for this card, I am going to double pop up the retro ornaments that we did, the silver on the blue cardstock. So once those are placed on the card, then I have room behind them, because then I can tuck these pine leaves kind of behind them a little bit. So those are just going to be single popped up. And I did have to pick up one of the ornaments because I didn't want the whole stem just to be sticking out from the ornament. So, but it's pretty easy to do unless you like really press down on that foam adhesive. You have a little time to pick it up without ruining it. And then the sentiment, I'm going to double pop up and just hide the tops of those strings behind that. And then don't forget about those little berries. I said you could die cut them out individually. So there are 3 different little dies for 3 different little stamps of berries, and I thought those were the perfect little embellishments for this card. So you have the foiling and the stamped images combined in one. I don't know about you, but I was super excited about this collaboration. I love when the fabulous people in this industry work together to make amazing collections for us card makers. And if, like me, you're starting to get a jump on your holiday cards, don't forget to follow along the rest of my playlist over here, where I have tons of inspiration and ideas. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. Cheeks kind of hurt from smiling so much. Maybe been filming one too many intros today. I'm like, ow. Good muscles, right? It's supposed to help all the things. Smiling and laughing. Let's just do more of that.